You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hey folks, it's Voss here from theChrisVossShow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The early 6 that makes it official. Welcome to 16 years, going on 17, 2,500 episodes of the Chris Voss Show, where we bring you the most smartest people, the brightest minds in the world, so they can make your lives better. And that way, when you're sitting around with your relatives there at Thanksgiving and Christmas, refer them to show so that they can be smart too. Go to goodreads.com where it says Chris Voss. Did I just call people's family stupid? No, I didn't do that. I just said smarter. That's what I said, right? Is that what I said? I don't know. Anyway, go to facebook.com where it says Chris Voss, linkedin.com where it says Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTokity, and Chris Voss Facebook. You just go to all the places under Chris Voss, the Chris Voss Show. Anyway, guys, we have an amazing lady on the show today. We're going to be talking to her about her book called The Quantum Life. There is a better way to live, out March 4th, 2022 by Dr. M. Teri Daunter. We're going to get into it with her experience of life, and all of her books, et cetera, et cetera. Teri, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, and thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'm grateful that you extended this invitation to me as well. So we're going to do something very amazing and leave everybody in wonder today for sure.
I love it. And you're the proud recipient of 2 major international awards, the Eric Hoffer Award and the Montaigne Medal Award. Did I say that right?
Yeah, the Montaigne Medal Award. And I'm really honored with those 2 awards because, Chris, it's one thing for an author such as myself to say, the Quantum Life delivers in a major way, and to be very proud and realizing it's my magnum opus. But it's something totally different when the literary reviewers, the giants in the field, come out and say the very same thing. And then, especially the Montaigne Award, basically, Montaigne was one who inspired people like Shakespeare, like Rene Descartes, like Blake and Emerson. And to be compared with someone that is such a giant in the field, it is absolutely my greatest honor. I'm most grateful.
There you go. Well, congratulations. Give us any .coms or social media profiles you want to have people check you out on the interwebs.
Well, I am on Facebook under Dr. Teri Quantum Creators. I am on Instagram, but I don't go into it much anymore. So it's mostly on Facebook that I do my teaching.
There you go. So give us a 30,000 overview of what's inside your new book.
I'm sorry, ask me the question again. I didn't hear you.
What's that?
I didn't hear you. Tell me what the question is.
Okay. The question is what websites, any website you want to take and promote?
I do not have any websites at this time.
Okay. There you go. And so people can order your book off of Amazon or wherever fine books are sold. Give us a 30,000 overview, please, of what's inside your book.
What the book is about? Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That's a loaded question. And it's very difficult to describe what's in the book in 1 or 2 sentences. And maybe I can start by explaining what's in the book by asking questions of your viewers and asking, what if everything that you've been taught is wrong? You've been told you're a body. You've been told that the world is solid. You've been told that everything that you see is your reality. And what if, Chris, that everything you've been told is a fiction? There's this reality that we think is our reality really is a fiction. And the quantum life shows you truly how you've been manipulated and controlled into a box. And you've been
Wow.
controlled and manipulated from the moment of birth. From the moment of birth, Chris, truly, we have been taught to divorce ourselves from ourselves. And no one ever brings us back into our wholeness. No one ever brings us back outside of that fragmentation that orthodoxy has created in our lives. And the
Mhm.
quantum life does just that. It rips through the veils of this fiction and shows you how there really is no power, real power outside of ourselves, nothing outside of ourselves. That
Mhm.
consciousness truly is the ground of being. There is nothing but consciousness. And
Mhm.
that's the basis of the quantum life. And I
Mhm.
know they've called me, the independent reviewers have called me a spiritual whistleblower like Blake and Emerson. I'm
Mhm.
absolutely in gratitude to be compared to such incredible literary giants. So I'll wear that medal on my heart and my soul.
There you
And
go. What
and
would you define spiritual whistleblower as? How do you define that? What does that mean? Let's lay a
mhm.
foundation for that.
Someone who, to me, a spiritual whistleblower is someone who rips the veil of falsehoods off of the hypnosis in which Orthodox social conditioning has put us in.
Mhm.
Rip the
And
veil
when you say
open.
orthodox, what do you mean by orthodox exactly?
When I talk about orthodoxy, I'm talking about social conditioning,
Mm.
universities, churches, even our
Mhm.
parents, not out of malice, but out of ignorance. Because,
Yeah.
Chris, we've become sheep following blind sheep. We're all falling off the same cliff.
Mm.
And normal is neurotic. Normal is not healthy. And as a psychologist, and I've been in practice 40 years, I'm not just an author. I've been a
Mhm.
psychologist of 40 years. I have a degree in clinical psychology. I have a degree in quantum medicine. I know what the word normal means, and it
Mhm.
means what the masses are doing. And if we look at what the masses are doing, it's psychotic out there in the world. 99.9% of the world is in the normal range, and my goal is to move them out of that hypnosis.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that kind of sleepwalk through life.
Yes,
George Carlin used to have a saying that I like to reference a lot. Think how dumb the average person is and realize 50% are dumber than that. But that's the great thing about the Chris Voss show audience. Those people, most everyone in my audience is smarter than that because they listen to the show and so many great authors like yourself. Now, let's also lay a foundation for the word quantum because you have the quantum life. For those who are below that average, what does quantum mean and why is that applicable to using that in a life quality application?
yeah. That's a really good question, Chris. And many people think that word quantum means huge. It's
Mm.
really the contrary. The word quantum means small, the smallest microscopic thing. And
Mhm.
the reference to quantum, like the quantum life, there is a better way to live, and there is a better way to live. It's a reference to making microscopic changes in our thinking, for instance, in our perceptions that will create macroscopic changes in our lives.
Mhm.
Let me give you an example. You
Okay.
know, intermittent fasting is very popular today. You stop eating after supper and then you don't eat until breakfast the next morning. I follow it myself because I know how healthy it is.
Mhm.
However, what most people think is that when you do intermittent fasting, that basically, you're maybe losing some weight and you're just healthier in general. But what they don't understand is a cascade of changes that are really taking place in you when you do that, like improve your microbiome in the gut, you're
Mhm.
increasing your mitochondria, you're increasing the stem cells in your body. There's this whole unseen cascade of effects and changes that are taking place that eventually, if you do them long enough, it's going to create enormous and magnitude of health benefits. So that's what quantum means. A small change, even in your perceptions, is going to create a magnitude of changes in your life.
There you go. There you go. The quantum life. Now, you mentioned do you believe we're like a simulation? Some of the things you talked about early on. There's some people who believe that this life is a simulation. There's some people life that, there's a evil, sadistic, masochistic, the puppet master in the sky who, I don't know, watches every little thing you do, including how many times you drink coffee. Well,
Well,
what are your thoughts on that and how you
well,
define it in the book?
I don't believe in some anthropomorphic being that sits on a throne. And
Hmm.
that's where the harm has come from, really, in orthodoxy, because they give you a lot of false beliefs to create fear, to keep you under control. And then on top of it, they ask you to tithe as insurance, for your salvation. And that
Hmm.
has done more harm than good. So I do not believe in that concept, which is the reason I don't even like to use the word God, because it has
Hmm.
so many negative connotations to it.
Hmm.
And I believe that, again, there is no power but the power within us. So we have to go inward. And the way that we do that is through meditation. And meditation truly alters and rewires you neurologically and chemically and turns you into a totally different person. Now, amongst all the work that I do, I've been a meditator, Chris, for 40 years.
Hmm.
I wake up every morning at 4:30 and I meditate from 4:30 to 6:30 because
Wow.
those 2 hours are mine. The rest of the day belongs to everybody else. And I believe that I am who I am because of that meditation.
Hmm.
Silence is so, so, so powerful. And we
Yeah.
need to go inward to listen, because the course and tenor of our life is dependent on how well we listen to that inner voice. Even Rumi said, listen to that silence. It has so much to tell you. And, there was a book, Chris, many years ago, and I remember the title of the book. It was entitled The Language of the Heart. I don't remember the author. I remember that it was about 350 some pages. And the whole premise of that book was that cardiac patients, in order to recover, need silence and not conversations. That left such an impression of me, because
Wow.
when I visit patients, I don't engage them in therapeutic conversations as a psychologist. I sit with them and hold their hand. Now,
Hmm.
here's another piece of research about silence. Just recently, there was a researcher and doing research on how music affects healing. Now, there's actually, quite honestly, a lot of research on how music heals, okay? So it's
Hmm.
not really new. But the equation was totally focused on music and healing. And so they would give someone a piece of music, rest for 2 minutes, a piece of music, rest for another 2 minutes, and another piece of music and rest, so on and so forth. What
Hmm.
they didn't expect, Chris, is that the greatest healing happened in the 2 minute gap of silence and not while the music was playing.
Wow.
So silence is very active,
Mm.
passive. So we need to keep moving inward to find our truth, not outward. I keep emphasizing there is no real power outside of ourselves.
There you go. So you believe in would you call it humanism? Uh let's see. I mean, I suppose you call it the quantum life. But so you believe that we are the source and fountain of all of our power and all of our we're self accountable for everything. We need to be self actualized. And one of the things you talk about in the book, if I understand you correctly, and then one of the things that you have in the book is you talk about something about people having personal experiences with the quote unquote light world. What is that?
Well, Chris, again, I would not be here talking to you at this very moment if it wasn't for my own personal experience with the light world.
Okay. How do you define the light world?
Well, I define the light world as a higher vibration and a higher frequency than the one we live in planet Earth. So in November of 1990, I had what many people will call an out of body experience. But honestly, Chris, we don't leave our body. What we do is go into another atmosphere of higher vibration and frequency. But people call it a near death experience. But I wasn't dying. I wasn't ill. I was actually visiting a friend in New Orleans at that time. Absolutely. And all of a sudden, I found myself in this light world. Chris, I have never felt more whole, more integrated, more complete, more joyous in this light world than I did in that moment. And I wanted to stay there. I mean, I really, truly wanted to stay there. I did not want to come back. And I found myself being thrown back into this encapsulated, frail, physical human shell. And I fell to the floor and I wept for what seemed to be hours. And Chris, for 6 months, honestly and truly, I felt like a Martian on planet Earth. I couldn't fit on the planet Earth. I felt like a misfit because my vibration was so high from having touched the light world. My vibration had gone so high from that experience that I felt out of sorts with everything. And all I wanted to do was meditate because the material world had become insignificant. All the noise that happens in our material world became insignificant. All I wanted to do was meditate just so I could feel that light world for just 1 second. 1 second is all I wanted. 1 second.
And so a lot of people, do you think a lot of people experience that? Maybe they don't know what it is, or what do you think other people are experiencing if they experience it, I suppose?
I don't know if a lot of people are experiencing. When you do experience it, Chris, I can guarantee you, you know that you've experienced it because it will leave you totally rewired differently. Conceptually, you're different. Perceptually, you're different. And it totally shattered all external conditioning of orthodoxy. Nothing that I believed mattered any longer. I was a totally different person. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here talking with you today. I guarantee it.
Yeah, we wouldn't have a book. So we got a book out of it. So there you go.
Well, you know, this book, Chris, it's really an interesting experience because people say to me, and I've written, by the way, this was my first book, The Spiritual Dance of Life, Where Two Worlds Meet. This was, I wrote way back in the mid-90s. And then the second book was this one where I contributed a significant chapter with Joe Dispenza, Dr. Paul Druin, Mariel, oh my goodness, I'm blanking here on her name right now. Sorry. Hold on, I'll tell you. Hemingway, Hemingway's Ernest Hemingway's granddaughter, and then this one now. So I'll show you these books because I had never intended to write any of them. And what happens to me, as happened with the quantum life for me, is that there was something brewing inside of my whole being, coming from consciousness for 2 years. I did not know what that was brewing within me. I had no idea. I never know. But I knew there was some force. So I wasn't inspired. I was compelled. I was compelled to do something because I could no longer sit on the sidelines and be silent about the things that are going on in our world when I knew that we are being kept small and crushed in our greatness. So what happened is this. I knew there had to have been some kind of an energetic blockage that was interfering with my downloading this thing from consciousness into the physical. So I went to a friend of mine, an energy practitioner who was very skilled, and I said, I just need some energy work. And she was with me for about an hour and a half. And I remember in that session, there was this light that shot right through me here, went into my heart. And I remember just sobbing and sobbing and sobbing when
Wow.
this light hit me like a thunderbolt. And then I went home and I started to write and write and write and write. And I started writing in November, and I authored and finished this book in 4 months. I couldn't stop writing at all.
Wow.
So I just wrote and wrote and wrote. And as I wrote, everything I learned in my experience with the light world in November of 1990 became clear to me. Because I can honestly tell you this. Even though I wrote this book, The Spiritual Dance of Life, way back in the mid-90s, I can honestly tell you I knew it intellectually, but I didn't really know it until I wrote The Quantum Life. Now I know it. I am it. And, it answers the age-old question. The Quantum Life answers the age-old question, who am I? We are infinite consciousness, constantly emerging. And many people ask me to define consciousness, and Chris, I cannot, because it's infinite. And the second I define it, it's changed.
Yeah. One thing, a quote from your book is, heaven and hell are states of consciousness in which you live. Sounds like my first 11 marriages.
Yeah. Well, it is true. There is no hell down there. There is no heaven up there. There's no there. Everything is within us, Chris. And if we didn't exist, neither would the world be existing. That's the bottom. And you talk about hell. Hell is the agony of the soul when you miss the mark. The Christians talk about sin. I don't really believe in sin in the terms of good or bad. I believe that we can miss the mark by moving away from our divinity. So whenever I'm going to do something, I am going to ask myself, is this going to bring me closer to my divinity, or is it going to distance me? Because if it's going to distance me from my divinity, that's hell at its very best, and my soul will agonize over it. I guarantee it.
There you go.
That's hell. That's hell on earth.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of that lately. It's 2025. Seeing signs in the economy of hell on earth. So there you go. So you believe that we are the CEO and guardian of our own soul. Is that true?
Yes, I do. Okay. Absolutely. We have no one to account to but ourselves.
Yeah. So how can I get that on the stock market so I can get some investors for that?
Well, I've made some wonderful financial decisions based on the information that came through to me through meditation.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. You're always going inward, because the only truth you can depend on is what's inside of you.
That's true. Yeah.
There have been times when investors have said, don't do it, Teri. And I went through because I had this internal urging to do so, and generated 50 grand in 1 month. So why not do it?
There you go. That'll do the trick then.
Well, you have to listen to what many people will call intuition, but that's consciousness downloading itself at its very best.
Oh, really? Well, there you go. There you go. What else haven't we talked about in your book that you want people to know that maybe I haven't touched on?
Well, I really want to bring to awareness the difference between quantum medicine and Western medicine. Western medicine is based on Newtonian physics, okay? And that's antiquated. And quantum medicine is based on quantum physics, and that's what's informing us today. So Western medicine being based on Newtonian physics is outdated. They only see you as a frail, encapsulated being. And this physical being, Chris, is the lowest vibration of our beings. So it's very limited and it's very linear. While quantum medicine knows that we have subtle bodies and it's a top-down medicine. Consciousness, supramental, the mental, the vital, and then the physical. The physical is basically consciousness downloaded. And by the time something shows up in the physical, it's been brewing in consciousness for a long time. So when Western physicians are treating your physical body, they're treating the lowest component of yourself. They're not seeing the rest of you, which means they're making an incomplete diagnosis and treating you on incomplete information. They need to treat the energetic body. So I go to my energetic practitioners before I will ever go to a Western physician today. Now, having said that, there is no other discipline that does an incredible job if you have a broken bone. You don't want to go to an energy practitioner for that necessarily, but Western medicine shines. But when it comes to really looking at you as a whole human being, then it's quantum medicine. It's much more complete, and Western medicine is very narrow in its focus. But we're getting there. We're moving. We're making some progress.
Making some progress, and so people can read your book. Now, is there any future book works maybe that might be coming out for you, or additions to this series and talking about the quantum life?
To me, Chris, everything is a movement of consciousness. So I don't know what I'll be doing tomorrow. There might be 10 books in process. There might be 0. So I let things evolve. Even in terms of the quantum life, I just let it evolve. And I said to consciousness, now I've done your bidding. You've used me as your conduit to reach humanity. And I have done that. I've reached humanity. And what consciousness does with it is totally their process. And the quantum life truly is a book of soul survival. It is a book of inner revolution. It's not going to give you dogmas. It's going to talk to you about interdimensional truths and movements of consciousness. And it's not for the weak at heart, because as the independent interviewer said, it's very thought-provoking. It's very inspiring. It's intellectually very moving. And if you don't want to awaken, and if you don't want your tiny little world upset, then this is not for you. It's only for those who want to be. Yeah.
There you go. So it's something people can read, figure out, and plan for the future. Now, do you do any coaching or consulting or advising of people speaking on this at all?
What's your question, Chris? I didn't get your question.
Do you do any coaching, or consulting, or speaking on this topic?
Well, I am a psychologist, and of course, I treat the quantum way. So I'm speaking about this 30 hours a week.
Okay, cool. So, can people reach out to you and get help or advice or have their question answered if they want more?
Of course, they can reach me through Facebook, Dr. Teri Quantum Creators. And I prefer that they do that, or they can also reach me through my email, drmtdaunter@gmail.com. And really, I'm very good at returning calls or responding. If I haven't responded within a timely fashion, it's because something's getting in my way and I'm unable to do so.
Okay. So as we go out, give people a final pitch out to pick up your book and where to find it on the interwebs.
This is my magnum opus. And I extend total gratitude for consciousness to have downloaded it and used me as their conduit for making this message available to humanity. So, if there is any message that I want to leave with the audience, is that consciousness is the ground of being. There is nothing but consciousness. And if we do not awaken, we are going to go on our deathbed realizing only too late that all along we've been living someone else's life.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people go through the world that way. They go through the world that way, and yeah, it's kind of wild how they do their thing. So yeah. The
unfortunate part is a lot of people is 99.9%.
Really?
And if the quantum life awakens even a small percentage of people, I will feel like I have made a major contribution truly to humanity.
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you very much, Teri, for coming on the show and sharing your vision and an interesting way that people can live their lives. And of course, being self-actualized and being self-accountable is really important. I think too many people sometimes use, well, there's a higher power that made me do it. You're like, no, it was you.
Well, I want to make it clear that this is not another self-help book. This is a book of soul survival. This is a book for inner revolution. And notice I'm saying inner revolution, not outer revolutions. There's a lot of outer revolutions happening in front of our eyes that are doing great damage. I'm talking about changing yourself to create any lasting changes within our world and for humanity. So as Gandhi always said, as within, so without. We have to start from within ourselves to create lasting changes and not point fingers at the next person for that change to happen. There is no real power outside of ourselves. Nothing.
That is a profound statement. There you go.
Yes, it
is.
You go.
There you go. Well, thank you very much, Teri, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Chris. Have a great day and stay well.
Thank you. You too. Folks, order up the book where refined books are sold. It is called The Quantum Life. There is a better way to live. March 4th, 2022. Thanks to my audience for tuning in. Thanks to my guests for being here. Be sure to go for the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTok and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next